Welcome back to Full Circle, Florida. Leave no one behind. That is a sacred military oath on the battlefield. But what about the home front? Michael Paluska profiles a new kind of court system where veterans who get into trouble are getting a second chance.
When a veteran comes home from deployment, they can suffer from a lot of different issues. We recently sat in on a veterans treatment court at the state level, and now we just saw a veteran get sentenced here at federal court in a brand new pilot program.
In this court, we don't focus on punishment. We focus on recovery.
Inside the 13th Judicial Circuit in Hillsborough County, there's a different court in session.
You owe it to them as well, as a veteran.
I never thought I'd make it here, and I'm so glad I did.
Where veterans, some who commit serious felonies and face potential prison time, have to stare down their demons.
I hated going to the weekly group. I thought it was stupid. It wasn't for me. I didn't belong there. But the group became the most important part of this program for me because I realized I was looking at people that were struggling or struggled the same way I did. And in a weird way, I was judging them when I first started. And then I realized they are me.
This is graduation day.
Couldn't be more proud of you. So happy for you. Congratulations.
It seems like they're very lucky to have landed in your courtroom.
That's true. And this is not a court of punishment. We are their rock. They come here, it's a safe space for them. Of all the irony, coming to a criminal courtroom, and it's a safe space for them.
Judge Michael J. Shantes presided over the court for 8 years. A hardened combat veteran himself, he is still a colonel in the Army Reserves. Shanti lost soldiers under his command and understands the pain many carry home.
There have been times when I've struggled. I've had some dark days. There are many cases where I or other mentors have served alongside some of the veterans who actually appear in front of me.
Where is the disconnect where someone such as yourself can serve, continue to serve, end up as a judge, and someone else that you were boots on the ground with, walking the same dirt with, ends up as a defendant? Where does their life collapse, but your life didn't?
That is the million-dollar question that we struggle with.
You don't want them really to end up in this court. This is the court of last resort. What you want to do is be proactive.
In 2013, when the VTC started, combat veteran Colonel DJ Reyes was the only mentor. Now, there are more than 50 and growing. They are
the secret sauce of the program. Without the mentor program, you really only have another mental health or drug court because you've just pulled out the mentors. The mentors do so much.
I got this mentor here, Mark, and one of our first conversations, he's like, "You're an arrogant." I'm like, who is this guy to talk to me like that? It took me a while to realize maybe he's right.
Colonel Reyes now the first mentor again, this time for a new pilot program in federal court. Cameras are not allowed inside, but I sat in on the sentencing of Captain Baruch Roche. Last November, he pulled up to the gates of MacDill Air Force Base saying he was, quote, Captain America. Guards realized Roche was in a mental break. They searched his car and found an AR-15 with 125 rounds of ammo. The judge sentenced Roche to 3 years probation. After court, he had agreed to interview with us, but the weight of the moment was too much.
I'll see you later.
Colonel, you know, I know we were supposed to talk to Mr. Roche. Obviously a lot of emotions. What were his emotions like? Did you get a chance to talk to him after?
I did very briefly. I think he was relieved.
This is basically what we saw in the state court, except it's at the federal level.
Absolutely. The key to me was that he wasn't going to serve any prison time.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. Very happy to be walking out of here.
Back in state court, graduations, new beginnings.
It's for all the veterans that have struggled, who are struggling, and who have overcome the struggle.
When these graduates left the courtroom today and they went out into the world as these transformed folks, what impact will they have on other veterans?
They serve as a shining example. Number one, that we all have issues, we all have challenges, but there's hope, and there are programs, and there are people who care, that want you to succeed, that want you to get well.
In Tampa with photojournalist Reed Moeller, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
We turn next to a success story you rarely hear about in Florida education these days. A school district with barely any teacher vacancies at an A grade. Here's my conversation with Pinellas County Superintendent Kevin Hendrick. Referendum that's on the ballot in Pinellas County to raise money for the school district. Where does that stand right now? Obviously, voters, I guess, will have the decision to make come November. But how do you convince homeowners who are getting hit with, you know, high insurance bills, other kinds of cost of living that's crunching their lifestyle, that they have to pay more in property taxes at this time?
It's a really good question. So for 20 years, the voters of Pinellas County have supported the referendum for our schools. We were the second district in the state to have a property referendum. And so you go back and you look, what has that done for the school district, right? It's raised academic achievement. It's caused us to have great teacher recruitment and retention. We don't have mass vacancies like you see across the country and some other places. And so the question is, do we want to continue that momentum as others around us have upped their property millage to be more competitive?
You obviously see what's happening in Hillsborough County. It's now sort of tied up in this legal limbo. How do you avoid something like that happening in Pinellas County?
Well, you know, it takes a long time for these things to come to fruition. And so you have to have conversations with your school board. You have to have community organizations that understand what the ask is. And then, of course, the county commission. And so I don't know that process in Hillsborough, but I know in Pinellas, our board voted 7-0 to put it on the ballot. Our county commission voted 7-0 to put it on the ballot. And this has been something that we've done for 2 decades now. And the community understands it and has supported it.
Let's talk about this new cell phone policy. There are new rules in place for that. What are those, and what should parents know? How can they help their kids adjust to this?
Yeah, we spent about a year talking to parents, to students, certainly to teachers about what is the best policy. And so essentially, really easy to understand. Kindergarten through 8th grade, no phones in school at all, period. In your backpack, off until the end of the day. In high school, we're allowing students to use them at class change and during lunchtime. And we really talk to the students and the parents and teachers about what's reasonable and what's reasonable for a high school student to be able to have that. But with that, they also asked us to make sure we educate students on the dangers of social media. Make sure they understand what those algorithms are making their brain do when they're constantly doing that. School's coming back. We're excited, get them prepared, and get them ready to have fun. We want school to be a place that's exciting and better than the other alternatives in life, and at least a place that for 6-7 hours a day, it's good and they're learning and moving forward.
Superintendent Kevin Hendrick, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
Next on Full Circle Florida, the school board versus the county commission and the legal battle over your vote.